But once again, like for me, like that's because honestly, like I still have that ability, you know, to do that because I can moderately manage like, you know, editing for however many hours until 2 and then, you know, getting up and do the homeschool thing and like being around and stuff. But, you know, I have ADHD, I get zoned in or locked in or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I want to get this done.
Yeah.
So,
hell yeah.
and then it's like, you know, making sure that you're like, I want to make sure that my clients or whatever, they're getting what they, what they want, what they need. Also, you know, like I will never extend myself beyond the point where I can never, where I have to put them first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's
a good way to put it too. It's just like, I want to make sure that if I sign up to do XYZ, that I'm going to be able to, I'm going to be able to knock that out to where I'm not overextending and like spilling over all the other buckets that I'm responsible for.
And that'll tie into later on, you know, I'm sure we'll get into that discussion when it comes to reward versus, you know, this is this juice worth the squeeze or whatever.
Yeah. Because sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't, man. And then being able to know when and when not to.
And that's like a whole nother thing to navigate too. You know, like when you were just talking about, you know, as soon as you sit down in that chair, you're doing like 5 different jobs, you know, and like, and
I gotta do this. I gotta do this. I gotta do this.
And you're still learning all of them, like as you go to get better and stuff. That's no different.
Yeah,
you know,
hell yeah, man. With that being said, man, like you know, you started everything, but now that you've like been doing it for a little bit, you know, how would you kind of describe your like photography style, or do you even think you have a style?
I like hate to say it because I try to tell myself I don't, because like I said, I try to stay as like open as possible. Like anything that I can, that gets my attention, that interests me, that I feel like will push like my limits of anything I've done yet, then I'm down for it. So, I mean, I would say more of like an outside the box, or, you know, you've seen some of my stuff. It's, you know, maybe kind of cliche, but it's like real raw and censored. Not necessarily like photojournalism or street journalism, but I'm not, weddings, not like my thing.
Yeah.
Or
hell yeah.
More stage photography, like behind the scenes type stuff is cool, you know, because I'm able to still do my specific creative whatever I see versus having to adhere strictly to what the client wants, right?
Yeah.
Now there might be certain instances like MMA or something, you have to get certain shots.
Yeah.
But you still have a very broad window where you're allowed to use that creative, you know, that creative space or whatever. So
hell yeah. And that's cool too, because like for me, like I've been doing more of the videography stuff. I'm always like trying to capture certain moments, and after a while you get to know how certain fights are going or certain fighters. Like if I get right here, I know this fool's gonna give me a good look.
Absolutely.
Or like you know, walking up to the cage or getting to see certain fighters. After a while, you kind of see what they're doing in the back. You kind of know what you're looking for. And that's the thing, like the same too, even though this past Saturday too, I was just like trying to get to know the area, trying to think of different shots, because I want to like be able to, like how you say, kind of open, free range, and just kind of put my own twist to it. You know what I mean?
You know, you could say any event, regardless of what it is, will have like its base things. It's the base things that need to be captured. So MMA event, like
hand raise, walking in, walking out,
warm ups, hand wraps, you know, a little bit of
pad work,
shadow sparring or shadow boxing, pad work, walkout, cage time, hand raise. You know, but then okay, like now you have all the rest of the space to do whatever you want creatively with that. So that still goes in line for me with like not. You know, not that I would be opposed to trying different kinds of portrait type stuff. I do some moderately kind of like portrait stuff, but I mean, I've done stuff for my daughters for softball, but usually my portraits are during an event or during something, and they're like in the moment. They are raw. Like someone sitting in the corner or something like that.
I feel like that more like, and I've gotten like, I try not to think too much into like, oh, I'm storytelling and shit like that.
For sure.
But like, I like to capture certain moments and like certain interactions between coaches and fans, and like just being able to capture that is so cool. Cause like photos is cool. Like you can look at a photo like, damn, there's like so much going on, but not really.
Well, because it's like, you know, with a photo, and this is any genre, no matter what, a photo is a picture's worth 1,000 words. You can interpret a photo how I interpreted it as I took it, or maybe that photo is taken to interpret how the person, the subject, I'm trying to capture whatever their moment is. Or there could be no real meaning behind it. It could just be, you know, like some street photography. Sometimes it's just in the moment, and it's supposed to be open for interpretation.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of the cool aspect.
And that's the whole creative thing too. Is I feel like, because you have your own background of like things that you've done and things like that. So when you come in to a certain shoot or a different area, you have different thoughts than I would, because we could both be at the same shoot and we're going to shoot completely different stuff.
Yeah. And honestly, like that's great. I think, and I think that's important for anyone, especially when you're in, I mean, any kind of creative project, whether it's something you're trying to sell or do for other people or do for yourself, is like look and see like where you're at. Like, what are you trying to do? Like, what am I trying to convey or not convey? Or maybe I don't have to, but like at least being open to like that whole process.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and it kind of like, there'll be sometimes I'll take pictures. You know, we were talking about like taking a picture or doing something creatively, and you're just like, oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then some days you're just like, next.
Yeah.
But you know, but also I've had days where I've gone back and
you're like, you know what? Let me